Greg, we got some pretty cool news this morning that Marc-Andre Fleury was coming out of retirement to rejoin his good buddy Sidney Crosby in Pittsburgh for one last hurrah. It's going to be probably the most attended preseason game in NHL history. I would imagine they're going to have standing room and they're going to bring in extra seats like they would at the Orange Bowl down here. So,
the Orange Bowl.
Casting aside how cool it is that Marc-Andre Fleury is making this comeback, how long do you think his buddy Sidney Crosby is going to keep that Penguins sweater on? Because I personally think Montreal, Roy, maybe Detroit, but certainly
I'm not saying anything, man.
The writing's on the wall. He's on his way out, right?
Yeah, this Fleury coming back to Pittsburgh. It's got real Steve Carell coming back before The Office is canceled energy. Yeah, I mean, listen, my take on Sid is this. I had someone tell me in the off season that Sidney Crosby is going to play in the playoffs no matter if it's in Pittsburgh or it's somewhere else this season. I asked Sid about that at the Player Media Tour. He didn't quite go as far as to say that. I think he's trying to really keep an open mind about Pittsburgh trying to pull a Washington Capitals and surround the veteran core with younger players and different players and seeing if they can maybe squeeze one last drop of juice out of this thing before the team gets blown up.
A lemon.
But I don't think it's going to happen. And Sid himself said, most of the punditry is going to pick us to finish last in the division. So I think within the first 2 or 3 months of the season, I definitely think it could happen before the Olympics, that we could see Crosby go to the Penguins and say it's time. I do think, though, it should be noted that there are people in Sid's life that I think would love to see him move on, not only for the betterment of him, but also for the betterment of the NHL. I mean, he is one of the most legendary players of the last 50 years in this league, and he is persona non grata at the most important time of the year, 3 years running. And even before that, the Penguins weren't really a contender. But then you have Sid, who, clearly has incredible affinity for the Penguins. I think has always fancied the idea of playing for one franchise. And, there is always the possibility that they could get good by the very, very end of his career. But overall, I have to imagine that the time spent losing has really weighed on this guy, and that he might, go to them and say, I'm ready for another opportunity.
Is it crazy to think that Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be the savior in all of this, and he's going to fall in love with Pittsburgh? It's going to go beyond a preseason game. He's going to take over for Kristen Jarry and Artur Silovs, and he's going to lead Crosby and the Penguins back to the playoffs. It's going to be the most amazing Cinderella story that everybody but Roy loves. Is that what's going to happen?
No, but he's better than the goalies they have right now. It's like at the very least, maybe he does play another year. Who knows? But if he plays another year, does he have to give back all the gifts from last season?
No.
In my eyes, yes. If you do the retirement tour and you get a rocking chair and this and that,
yeah,
and,
a rocking
and then
chair
you don't
made of
retire,
hockey
you
sticks.
got it. Yeah,
like
exactly.
if you're a cop and you get a gold watch for your retirement, and you decide to still be a security guard somewhere.
You retire every year. Yeah, retire every year.
No, you put on a bus. You turn into Dennis Hopper.
Yes. Exactly.
That's right. That's how you knew he was a cop, because that's the watch that they give you. I love that movie
Listen
so
up,
much.
hotshot. What do you do?
Tell that wildcat.
So that wildcat. That's right. That's right.
Pop quiz.
Drive around the airport. That's the only way you drive, because there's no the copters can't go above the airport because of the air traffic control rules.
Brilliant.
So you mentioned Detroit, you mentioned Montreal. I think both of those teams have something in common, which is a lack of any guarantee they will be in the playoffs. And I think wherever Sid goes, it's not going to be on the bubble. It is going to be on a team that can contend, where he can, feel comfortable that he might have multiple rounds in the playoffs. I mean, we've all know the McKinnon connection from Cole Harbor and what have you. And so the Avalanche can't be ignored. One thing somebody told me once about Sid that stuck with me is, though, if he goes to Colorado, is he taking a cut in minutes?
Yeah.
He's going to be on the third line.
Is he the 2C? Yeah.
Is he 2C? Is he not playing his spot on the power play anymore? Like, you imagine if Sidney Crosby comes to your team, you acquiesce. It's like Gretzky going to your team, right?
No.
Who knows? I mean, like, maybe he's going someplace. Like, maybe Montreal is a cleaner place for him to go, because you can go to Nick Suzuki and be like, hey, buddy, Sidney Crosby's over here, and all of a sudden you're Nick Suzuki and you're playing second line minutes for a couple of years until Sidney Crosby retires. But if he goes to Colorado, I mean, it is an interesting conversation to be had. Like, does McKinnon move to the wing on Sid's line? Who knows? But it's a different conversation to be had than say like Montreal or Detroit.